हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज के वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे डेरेक वॉलकॉट और उनकी पोम सी ग्रेप्स के बारे में। पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले पोएट के बारे में जान लेते हैं। Derek Walcott was born in Castries, St. Lucia, the West Indies on January 23, 1930. His first published poem, 1944, appeared in The Voice of St. Lucia when he was 14 years old and consisted of 44 lines of blank verse. By the age of 19, Walcott had self-published 2 volumes, 25 poems, and epitaph for the young 12 cantos, exhibiting a wide range of influences including William Shakespeare, T.S. Eliot, and Ezra Pound. He later attended the University of the West Indies, having received a colonial development and welfare scholarship, and in 1951 published the volume of poems. In 1957, he was awarded a fellowship by the Rockefeller Foundation to study the American theater. He published numerous collections of poetry in his lifetime. Most recently, the poetry of Derek Walcott, 1948 to 2013. White Egret's selected poems, The Prodigal, a poem, and Tipolo's Hound. The founder of the Trinidad Theatre Workshop, Walcott also wrote several plays produced throughout the United States. The Odyssey, a stage version, 1992. The Isles is Full of Noises, 1982. Remembrance and Pantomime, the Joker of Seville, and Babylon, Dream on Monkey Mountain, and other plays. 3 plays, The Last Carnival Beef, No Chicken, and A Bunch of the Blue Nile. His play Dream on Monkey Mountains won the Obie Award for Distinguished Foreign Play of 1971. He founded Boston Playwrights Theatre at Boston University in 1981. First collection of essays, What the Twilight Says, was published in 1998. About his work, the poet Joseph Brodowski said, for almost 40 years, his throbbing and relentless lines kept arriving in the English language like tidal waves, coagulating into an archipelago of poems, without which the map of modern literature would effectively match wallpaper. He gives us more than himself or a world. He gives us a sense of infinity embodied in the language. Walcott's honors include a MacArthur Foundation Fellowship, the T.S. Eliot Prize, the Montel Prize, a Royal Society of Literature Award, and in 1988, the Queen's Medal for Poetry. In 1992, Walcott became the first Caribbean writer to receive the 1992 Nobel Prize for Literature, and in 2015, he received the Griffin Trust for Excellence in Poetry's Lifetime Achievement Award. इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं उसके कुछ की फीचर्स। सी ग्रिप्स by Derek Walcott is a deep and interesting poem. In it, Walcott uses numerous allusions to convey a message about choosing between lust and responsibility. It is a thoughtful and multi-layered poem that uses Odysseus and his journey as an allegory. The poem starts with the speaker viewing a schooner in the Caribbean Sea. It reminds him of Odysseus, and he starts to relate a contemporary moment to events from the Odyssey. He speaks about Odysseus' longing to get home, but the fact that he was torn between his responsibilities and his desire to remain free and able to commit adultery. Stanza 1 and 2. That sail which leans on light, tired of islands, a schooner beating up the Caribbean. For whom? Could be Odysseus, homebound on the Aegean, that father and husbands. In the first lines of Sea Grapes, the speaker begins by describing a schooner on the sea. He relates the schooner to Odysseus' fabled vessel in Homer's The Odyssey. This metaphor allows the speaker to expand their imagination, to envision what could be happening on the boat and the surrounding sounds and feelings. In the second stanza, the speaker mentions the Odysseus was father and husband. Readers familiar with this story Note that this is a reference to his wife Penelope and his children back in Ithaca. Stanza 3 and 4. Longing under gnarled sour grapes is like the adulterer hearing Nausicaa's name in every gull's outcry. This brings nobody peace. The ancient war between obsession and responsibility will never finish and has been the same. In the following lines, the poet uses the word longing as a way of describing the need Odysseus had and that he senses from the schooner he's looking at to get home. The phrase sour grapes is used in the third line. Sea grapes are a type of grape that's indigenous to the Caribbean Sea area, the same place that the poet sets this poem. He appears faithful in these first stanzas, but things get more complicated as the poem progresses. The speaker then mentions Nausicaa, a character from the epic poem who Odysseus is tempted to stay with, committing adultery. The poet compares this to sour grapes. It's tempting, but when they are eaten, they're not what one would expect. Stanza 5, 6, and 7. For the sea wanderer or the one on shore, nor wriggling on his sandals to walk home, since Troy sighed its last flame, and the blind giant's boulder heaved the trough, from whose groundswell the great hexameters come, to the conclusion of exhausted surf. The classics can console, but not enough. Odysseus is dealing with an age old battle between what he wants and what he should do. He needs to go home and resume his responsibilities as husband, as father, but it feels easier at the moment to neglect those responsibilities and remain with Nausicaa. The poet also alludes to the Cyclops, Polyphemus, in the sixth stanza. Odysseus makes his way home on the groundswell created by the giant's boulder. The poet attempts to relay to readers that to choose between their obsession and lust and the responsibilities they have signed up. Odysseus is used as an allegory for the conflicts one faces in everyday life. The poet concludes with the following message. The classics, like the Odyssey, can provide some information and some direction, just like age old lessons about right and wrong, but they don't have all the answers. Devices, metaphor, and allegory. Walcott uses these devices to convey his message about balancing responsibility and obsession. Dactylic hexameter. Walcott uses this rhythm, which is often used in heroic poetry and epics, to highlight the allegory. Alliteration, the line that chain link fence dividing the absent shores of the beach from the empty ballpark contains alliteration. Walcott was a Caribbean poet, painter, and playwright who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1992. His work often explores themes of cultural tensions and hybrid identities. The poem Sea Grapes by Derek Walcott explores the theme of the conflict between obsession and responsibility and how it should be resolved. Obsession and responsibility. The poem uses the metaphor of sea grapes to describe obsession, which is rooted in guilt and dishonesty. Sea grapes are sour and bitter, which alludes to the bitterness of choosing obsession over responsibility. Odysseus, the poem is strongly linked to the ancient Greek myth of Odysseus, who sailed for many years after the Trojan War. Odysseus was tempted by beautiful women on the island, but he eventually chose to return home to his wife and son. The classics. The poem includes the line, the classics can console but not enough. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद है। कैसी लगी हमें कमेंट करके बताएं, और अगर वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल। और हमें ये भी कमेंट करके बताएं कि आप आने वाले वीडियोस किस टॉपिक पर देखना चाहते हैं। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे। थैंक यू।